Click over to make sure it starts. Yeah, I think we're good. Okay, let's start the music.
Audio Jungle.
What's up, guys? Welcome to DDLive number, I think it's 82, 83, somewhere around there. Happy to have another one of these, and I'm really happy because I got two very, very special guests. I'm kind of fanboying right now, but after I watched It's Me, Billy, and I'm such a Black Christmas fanboy. So, but yeah, the ever so loving Dave McRae. Dave, say hello.
Hello, everybody. How are you? Lee, thanks for having me on. Good to be back on. It's been a while.
Yeah, man, it's awesome. That silver tongue is still intact.
It is. It is.
Yeah. And first time on the show, Mr. Bruce Dale. Bruce, how are you doing, sir?
Yeah, I'm great. It's awesome to be here, and great to connect with everybody. And yeah, no, it's awesome. So yeah, thank you for having me.
Awesome. Let me say hello to some people in the chat real quick. Mega Cat, Tom Ungren, Dave Vanderhoff, Sebastian, Chester, Cody Snyder. Yeah. I saw Destiny in there, a few others, but the reason we're here tonight is because we got a crowdfunding campaign just started, an Indiegogo for a little fan film called It's Me, Billy is it part 2 or no, chapter 2? I see.
Chapter 2. Yeah.
It's Me, Billy, chapter 2. And boy, am I excited. I just watched It's Me, Billy again today, threw in my Blu-ray that I have.
Nice.
You know, I'm a supporter. I saw my name in the credits at the end. I was like, hey, there I am. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So, first off, the first thing is I want everybody to look up in the top of the chat. I pinned it. I pinned the Indiegogo campaign link. You can click on that. I'm going to go through some of the perks and whatnot, and just more about this film with you guys, along with my two guests. And then we're going to talk some horror. We're going to talk some Black Christmas. We're going to talk all kinds of fun stuff. Now, Dave, let me ask you a question, and
yes,
this can probably tie into Bruce. Black Christmas, because I've known you for quite a few years now. You've never really, of course, we stay on our little Halloween sandbox, but
I know
we did. It's a crazy sandbox sometimes.
There's a lot of sand fights and people throwing shovels.
Fights, especially after that last movie.
Stories.
We might squeeze in some David Gordon Green trilogy talk at the end of this. But yeah, Black Christmas. I want to know the beginning. Where did it all start for you and Bruce? But first, you, Dave. Why is Black Christmas so important to you?
Well, it's a movie that I've always really liked. And I have it in my collection. I have it on VHS. I have it on Blu-ray. Still need to get it on 4K, but and so I've always liked it. It's always been one of those films that has kind of been a staple for me. It's a Canadian movie. It was shot here in Toronto. Now, it's not supposed to take place in Toronto. Some people think because it's a Canadian film and it was shot in Toronto that the story actually is about a Canadian, group of kids and whatnot. It's not, at least not in my estimation, because at the police station, there's clearly American flags and, all that kind of stuff. And that was, especially years ago, a lot of Canadian productions did that to help with distribution in the States, to help to appeal to an American audience. And now we're still doing that. I wish we'd stop. but it's less than what it was 50 years ago, because our film industry has also come a long way as well, where, we are producing high quality stuff, which is great. But but it was a Canadian movie with about a half of a Canadian cast: Andrea Martin, Art Hindle, Lynn Griffin. Who else was Canadian on it? Margot Kidder. You know what I mean? So Bob Clark, I think, is American, but nonetheless, it was a Canadian film funded through the Canada Film Fund, I think it is, Bruce, or something like that. I don't think it exists anymore. But anyway, it was a Canadian film for sure. And it never spawned any sequels, had 2 remakes in 06 and 19. But it never, because it didn't have any sequels like Halloween or Elm Street or Friday, it never embedded itself into the pop culture horror zeitgeist in the same ways, right? It became a very niche sort of cult film, which is fine. There's lots of movies that are like that. So in 2019, I turned 40, and although people know me online as Dave McRae, the YouTuber, I'm also a professional voice actor. I've worked in the entertainment industry for 22 years, but I went to film school. That's what I always wanted to do with my life, was to be a filmmaker. And of course, as most people's journeys, when you think you're going one way, you end up falling into another area, and you just kind of claw your way through and see what sticks. And then when I turned 40, although I've kept my filmmaking pulse to the ground, or ear to the ground, I think is that the saying? I don't know. Anyway, pedal to the metal,
nose to the grindstone. I don't know.
Ear to the ground. Yeah. Maybe that's what it is. By making like little Halloween shorts, and I've worked on set as a PA and as a grip before, and things like that. So I've always kind of tried to maintain it. But in 2019, I turned 40, and I thought, I really want to make a go at this, like a real go at this, make like a real professional film. But I didn't know what to do. I didn't want to bite off more than I could chew. But I didn't know what to do. And then one night I was watching Black Christmas, not for any other reason other than the fact that I hadn't seen it in a while. And then the way it ends, as you know, is amazing. It has this ambiguous, mysterious, ominous ending. It didn't need a sequel at all. It works great without a sequel. But I thought, I wonder, and I didn't want to do a Halloween fan film. No offense to the Halloween fans, but it's saturated.
Has there ever been a Halloween fan film before?
I don't know if there ever has. I think there's about 453,000 on YouTube. Is that?
There might even be one in production right now. Who knows? As we speak.
There might be one that's just been uploaded.
Yeah.
But and that's amazing, and it's great. But it's such a saturated area, right? Vincent DeSanti, of course, has Friday the 13th locked up. Cecil Laird, of course, with Elm Street. And I didn't want to do Halloween. I just wanted to kind of do something different. And Black Christmas, and I thought, you know what? We're Canadians from Toronto. We're filmmakers from Toronto. Black Christmas is a Canadian movie shot in Toronto. I thought there's something poetic about it, I guess. Some sort of like, who better to do it than, it's never had a sequel ever. So that was kind of the thought, was I wonder. So when Bruce came over one night in 2019, I pitched him the idea. Bruce, I can't remember. Had you seen Black Christmas? I don't think you had at that point. You were aware of it, but I don't think you had seen it yet.
Yeah, I was aware of it, and I was aware that it was a Canadian film, and I had colleagues that were huge fans, and they would talk to me about it, and we would talk about horror movies, and it would always come up as one of the classics, and especially one of the cult classics. So I was very familiar with it, but just hadn't seen it. No, so that was you introducing me to it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And so I said to Bruce, so I have this idea to make a movie. We're always thinking about ideas. I said, but really like legit, like leverage our connections and resources within the entertainment industry like we've never done before. You know what I mean? And really make a real movie, a low budget movie, but a real professional, polished movie. Yeah. And
it looks very professional and polished. I'm not blowing smoke. Literally, I watched it again today. That is one of the best looking fan films I've ever seen. Seriously.
Appreciate that. Yeah,
Yeah,
well, that
thank
I
you.
mean,
Thank
shout
you.
out, yeah, and shout out to our DP, Greg Bennett, and of course our,
Yeah.
the team, Nikita, Nas, everybody. It was just, amazing. It was nominated for best cinematography in the dramatic short category at the CSC Awards here in Canada, which was a huge honor.
That's awesome.
Huge honor. And yeah, no, we wanted to produce something that was legit. It's fan film in name only, very much like what Vince has done, as well, right? Just through and through professional indie horror shorts. And so that was the goal. And when I said Black Christmas to Bruce, I remember he was like, well, I don't know. I needed to sell it to him, right? Because I'm like, no, you don't understand. It's never had a sequel. It's never had a sequel. And he's like, yeah, I hear you, Dave. It's okay. It's never. I'm like, no, you don't. So I don't know if it was that night or if it was another night you came over and we sat down and we watched it. And when the movie ended, I remember you turned to me and you got it. Like you're like, okay, I get it now. I see where you're going with it. And that was sort of the inception of it. Was we moved quickly into development to try and because as you know, it ends on a great cliffhanger of sorts where you don't really know what happens. And we needed to figure out where's our endpoint. Like, where do we come in? Do we do a period piece where we pick up like the next day or 2 years later? Well, that's going to increase the budget if we got to make everything look like it's 1975. Or do we fast forward? But then how do we do that? Like, what is the endpoint? So it took a while to kind of crack the code and the story. And then when we finally did, that's, of course, the rest is sort of history. And here we are.
You take out, the franchise, the name, the licensing, all that stuff. I mean, it's pretty much an independent film. And the reason I say that is just because of the quality of it. When I compare it to, let's face it, most fan films that I've looked at, you can kind of tell the difference between a fan film and a Hollywood budgeted type of film. And when you watch your film, like say this wasn't a Black Christmas sequel, but it was just an original property. Yeah. You really couldn't be able to tell the difference between that and something that you might find streaming on Amazon Prime. It was, to me, the quality was up to that level.
Yeah. Appreciate that.
And it's kind of a good thing because when you look at like Black Christmas 2006, the remake, and then you look at Black Christmas 2019, setting that aside, when I first heard they were going to make Black Christmas 2019, I was like, oh, fine. Yes. Okay. Let's get a good Black Christmas movie going. Then the movie came out, and I was highly, highly pissed off because you know what? Set aside all the critical problems you have with that movie, but it's not Black Christmas. Billy's not. If Billy's not in the movie, to me, it's not Black Christmas.
Oh, it has nothing to do with Black Christmas at all. It's just they're just using the name.
It's a cash in.
Yeah, it's about sorority girls. I mean, that's true. And, at a sorority house, okay, it's true. But there's no phone calls. It's just about a group of cult, or I guess it's a cult of men that hate women. And that's really what it's all about. And so there's no phone calls, no creepy phone calls, nothing like no Billy, no Agnes, nothing.
And after that movie, it seems like the door is shut for Black Christmas. Like, because I don't think that movie did that well.
No,
thank God it didn't do that well because
not comparatively.
Where would we go?
Yeah.
So I think the door's wide open for pretty much only, I guess, you guys to continue the true legacy of Black Christmas. And thank God you're doing a really bang up job.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, and that was one of the things that, like, to Dave's point, when I turned to him and said, "Yeah, okay, I get where you're going. I get what this is about." I saw that opportunity. And one of the things that excited me was the idea of, okay, here's something that was shot in 1974. We have an opportunity to advance the story, to build on the existing legacy and the characters, flesh this out, do more with it, and then modernize it at the same time and do it justice as fans would want to see it happen. And then, and again, it'd be satisfying for us as filmmakers and bring that filmmaking artistry or whatever you want to call it to it. You know what I mean? And just give it our best. And And again, you know, Dave and I were both looking at wanting to do some kind of project together and go for it on a professional level and just give it our absolute best and see what that finally looks like, and give that opportunity for ourselves. And what would happen if we really gave it our all. And there we were. So we want to do it again. And but we only see the value in doing it, you know, if we can do it at that same level, because otherwise it would diminish the first film, and it would ruin things, you know. So we want to be able to deliver at the same caliber, same level, so it matches. And we've got some really cool stuff planned for the second part. Again, more stuff we want to do with the characters, but again, keeping it tasteful, keeping it, you know, lined up with what the characters are, not trying to introduce some bogus nonsense, like, you know, stay true to the IP, you know, and but then still grow it and make it scary, make it frightening, bring the horror into it, increase that psychological thriller and horror element in it. It's yeah, we're excited. We're excited. We really want to make this thing.
We do.
Your film, it leans heavily on suspense, and I think it complements the original movie so well because of A, the suspense, but also B, the score. There's a few moments there where you hear that like iconic organ sound, just the way Billy is portrayed and how you like never see his face. And that's just one thing I was just really eating up as I was watching it the second time. Is I was just like, wow, this really feels like the original movie. You know, it's updated. The lighting. I mean, to recapture that 16 millimeter feel of the original, that's one approach that you could have taken. But I think it's kind of cool that you brought it, you know, up to modern audiences with the look of the film.
Yeah.
And
that was a definite goal for us. And we had a lot of conversations with Greg, and he shared we had some really good reference material for him. Hereditary was one of the films that we had referenced with him. Excuse me. One of the things that I loved about that film was how the filmmakers play in the shadows, and there's all of this darkness, and there's these really creepy, just wonderful, scary moments, like, you know, the mom up in the ceiling to like, is the grandmother really there in the room? Like whoa, did I really just see that? Like that kind of shit. I love that shit. And so it's just, you know, to play in the dark, play in the shadows, and see what
you
we
do a
can
lot
do.
of that.
Yeah. And that was a big motivation. Like when you see Sam come in front of the window and you just see her silhouette against the window, and she's passing in and out of the darkness as she's coming down the hall in that one shot. Like it's huge. You know, that was one of our influences on a visual level that we gave to Greg, and Greg drew from some other inspiration as well. We had a couple of films, obviously
we did
the original,
that Hereditary, the others with Nicole Kidman was one. I think to your point is we didn't want to be afraid to have our character move through the darkness, you know, and so that where it's not Hollywood dark, you know, where you see everything at every turn, it's dark, you know, and so
it grounds it more in that reality. I think.
Does. And, you know, so you don't know what's in the shadows. So when Sam is walking towards the camera through that dark hallway, and then you sort of lose her a bit, and then you see her again when she steps in front of the window. There's no cut there. I mean, it's all one shot, but losing her was part of the creative choice. Was we weren't afraid to lose her. I mean, as long as you quickly pick her up again and there, you know, she's not gone for too long, it adds to that sort of, wow, it's that dark claustrophobic sort of feel rather than seeing her all the way.
That's a great way to build tension too. You know, we want this character to, we feel protective of this character. And when we lose her in the darkness, we don't know when we're going to get her back.
That's right.
You know, so it just adds to that tension, that heightened tension, which again, I love the tension in this movie. And you don't see that often these days, you know, but it seems like people want to go for those quick scares because, you know, most audiences these days, especially the younger audiences, they don't have that attention span. Like we used to. And maybe that's just why films are different these days. But this as far as like a horror template goes, this feels more akin to, you know, those older, even like down to like the camera movements and how you have you know, a lot of tracking shots, slow movements with the camera. And then as the movie builds, the camera work might kind of pick up a little bit, you know, like there's the one scene where Sam is in the bedroom, and I noticed like a few quick little cuts, little edits to where, you know, just to kind of get through the scene. Like, you know, she's trying to go through, I think she was going through like the drawer or something like that. And she was freaking out.
Purse,
and then the camera was just like jumping. And I was like, oh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
So,
No, it's, I was just going to say that, I mean, everything is, you know, it's intentional. We wanted to create a film that you could watch and it feels like it lives in the same universe as the original. It doesn't feel like a, you know, a fan film, the stigma that surrounds fan films, which is usually, you know, poor acting, amateur camera work, amateur lighting, and there's nothing wrong. I mean, that's where most fan films will always live. But, you know, every now and then you actually get filmmakers together and that make movies like what Vince has done. Right. You know what I mean? And what he's about to do with, I'm sure, you know, Never Hike Alone 2, which I'm sure is going to just blow the socks off of everybody. And it's because, you know, he's hired professionals. He's a filmmaker himself. And it's fan film in name only. But that is a stigma when you are making I like to call it a fan and tribute film. I like to add the word tribute in there. I think it helps to separate it from just fan film. Because that is what it is as well, in a lot of ways. And maybe that helps to separate it from the pack. I'm not sure. But at the end of the day, we wanted to deliver a professional product that honored the legacy of the original, and ended on a cliffhanger that was intentional. There's been a lot of people like, I thought the movie was good, but I thought the ending was kind of lame. It's like, well, it's not like you didn't think we didn't actually just didn't like, you know, we wouldn't just do that, right? Like, you know, I mean, who does that? Well, we just ran out of an idea. We thought, Grandma, that's a wrap, guys. Let's just
we ran out of film. Sorry.
And there's some people that have said too that, you know, I really like it, but I guess they just didn't have enough of a budget. No. We had we had plenty. We had that. What you see is what you're, you know, there wasn't any, you know, gore and because we didn't want there to be gore, and not because we couldn't afford it, but because it wasn't that kind of movie. We wanted to really, you watch both films and you go, this really feels like that natural extension. You know, it feels like it lives and breathes. It really does feel like a sequel to Black Christmas. It's something that's never been done before. And although we're unofficial, we are the only ones that have ever done it. And
I thought it was genius when I first saw the mention that Dave is doing a Black Christmas sequel fan film. I was just, that's genius, because nobody's doing that, you know, and the timing's almost perfect too, because I think, like, I discovered Black Christmas on the Halloween 25 Years of Terror documentary. I never even heard of the movie before. So 2003, I think that documentary came out, and they mentioned, like, at the very beginning, one of the inspirations of Halloween. And I remember literally rewinding. Whoa, stop. Rewind. What was that movie they just showed? Black Christmas? And so I immediately sought it out and watched it, and I fell in love with it. It's so cool how this old movie, almost forgotten movie, has just every Christmas I see more people watching Black Christmas, you know, and it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and you are just continuing its legacy. Like, I even see Sam as like an official Black Christmas character.
Cool.
You know, so that's like
great.
It's kind of the ultimate goal. So I do have some questions for you guys about the first movie, but first I want to go over to my Indiegogo page, or your Indiegogo page, should I say. And I want to just kind of highlight some things that I noticed on here. Okay. So 56 days left. I have no doubt that you're going to reach this. This thing just kicked off. So. Last Monday, I think.
4 days ago.
Yeah, 4 days ago we launched.
Yep.
Wow, that's great. That's great. Like I said, guys, I bought my my It's Me Billy Blu-ray like pretty quickly after the first campaign launched, because I wanted to be a part of this, to feel like I was a part of it, and I wanted this movie to be made, more importantly. So going down here, and if you guys want to chime in on any of this stuff that you feel like you want to foot stomp.
Yeah. So
Go ahead,
I'll
Dave.
just say that this obviously is the Indiegogo campaign for chapter 2. Chapter 1 ended on a big cliffhanger where Sam says she's been captured and she's in the basement and she's thrown into this room and she doesn't know what's going on and she's screaming and yelling and all of a sudden she hears some rattling behind her and she doesn't know who it is and she's looking and she's like, oh, Grandma? And then it cuts to black and we roll the credits. Well, who's she referring to? She's referring to her grandmother, and her grandmother is Jess Bradford from the original 1974 classic, who was presumed to be dead up until that moment. And so that was a moment where we ended chapter 1. It was always our intention to do chapter 2. We didn't jump on it right away because we wanted to let the film breathe for a while. But now is the time that we want to complete it. And we have the one and only Olivia Hussey on board, reprising her role as Jess Bradford.
That's the thing, right? Like she's agreed to come on board for this project. And so our intention is with part 2 to pick up right where part 1 left off. And that's,
correct.
One of the only things that we can really share about the story, but we can let you know that, if we're able to raise this money, we plan to pick up where the first one left off.
That's right.
And let you see that moment conclude, right? That story moment finish where you'll get to see Sam reunite with her grandmother. And not only will it just be anyone playing that character, but it will be Olivia Hussey reprising her role as Jess Bradford. Like, how awesome is that? Like,
I mean, seriously,
incredibly humbled by this. Yeah, it's super cool.
Like it's the equivalent of doing a Halloween fan film with Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yeah,
I was just going to say, I think Olivia Hussey is, in my mind, every bit as important as Jamie Lee Curtis. So Jess Bradford, still to this day, one of the most unique final girls ever, because this is a very strong, independent woman. She is pregnant in the first movie. She decides to have an abortion, and this is 1974. Like if this movie came out today, it would be controversial. There would be people that, oh my God, she's having an abortion, So these are real issues. And that was intentional. Bob Clark wanted to create, very strong characters, even though that they're in college. They're still, they're not dimwits. They're not idiots. They're not like dumb blinds, So I think that's a big reason. One of the big reasons why the first movie still, is so good.
And we tried to emulate that in our first chapter as well, where the girls feel like real people. They don't feel like necessarily these stereotypical archetypes that you sometimes see in horror movies. But I mean, it was always our goal to we wanted Olivia badly. Obviously, it felt like we were, the underdog team going up against the championship that's won 8 years in a row. But we knew that, what you don't ask, you don't get. We're going to swing for the fences. We're going to do everything we can to, make this happen. Not just for us, but for the fans, for horror fans. And in a lot of ways, I don't want to sound overly dramatic. So let me first say that I'm not trying to sound, too dramatic, but I understand that we're still unofficial, but we are creating horror history here. And this is something that, is, I think, extremely important. We're not talking about somebody's playing Jess Bradford. We're talking about the original actor from the 1974 film is reprising her role. A very private person, I might add, is coming out to play Jess Bradford, one of horror's first final girls ever. 4 years before Jamie Lee Curtis, right alongside Sally Hardesty from Texas Chainsaw. They're like the first kind of right there, because I think both movies were released within like a week of each other or something like that. So, extremely important to the subgenre, extremely important to the world of horror. And to be able to, have her on board and agree to reprise her role is a dream come true, but we can't do it without you. We need to be able to raise the production budget in order to be able to make the movie.
Yeah.
And that's why, you know, any donations, that any perks you guys can pick up would be greatly appreciated. You know, I've often said that it's not just a few people coming into the big perks that gets campaigns won. It's a lot of people coming out for the lower perks. So it's if 1,000 people all bought a Blu-ray, we'd probably have, like, you know, 3/4 of our budget.
Yeah.
You know, and it's totally easy. It's easy to do. You know, you just need, I mean, you know, like I've often said, it's hard to get 1,000 people to do anything, but it's absolutely achievable. It's absolutely achievable. If 2,500 people can buy a Blu-ray for Never Hike Alone, we can get 1,000 people or 1,500 people buying a Blu-ray for Jess Bradford for Olivia Hussey's Return. I mean, that's how I feel about it anyway. And yeah, I think we can absolutely do it. And it's just really exciting to be able to have her on board. It's just it's wild.
Yeah.
And guys, by the way, 2 different locations. You can go to the info box of this very video and you can click on a link and that takes you straight to the Indiegogo, or in the chat, I pinned the link so you can actually click on that. But you know, for me, there was no other I had to get the Blu-ray. And I'm definitely already ordered the Blu-ray for part 2. One cool thing about, and I assumed that part 2 is going to be around the same type runtime as part 1. So when you put the 2 together, especially since part 2 picks up directly after part 1, it's like one movie, right?
Yeah.
Like a full-length movie.
Yeah, it's like a Halloween 2 thing.
Yeah. I think in the end it'll play as one continuous congruent story. That's how we've written it, so that part 2, you know, it's taking place in the same timeline. It picks up right where part 1 left off, and we get to see what plays out after that and what plays out into over the next 24, 48 hours of the story, bringing it to its conclusion.
Well, and
yeah.
Sorry, no, I'm just going to say you have no idea how excited Bruce and I are.
Yeah, we got
to
some
complete
cool
the story.
stuff,
And the thing is, it's not just because of Olivia. Okay, Olivia was the little cherry on top. That was the cherry on top where it's like, oh yeah, here we go.
I don't even want to think. My reaction when I saw that Olivia Hussey, I was just like, holy fucking shit. That's what I literally said.
I actually thought of you. I thought of you that the day we made that announcement, Liam. I kid you not, because I know you're such a big fan, and of Black Christmas, not of me, folks. I know you're such a big fan. I mean, I'm not. But I know you're such a big fan, and you were one of the people that I thought, I wonder if Lee's gonna. Well, I know you'd see it, but I wonder what you're going to think. But look, no, it's yes, obviously we are just chomping at the bit to be able to work with this, you know, legendary actress and who's meant so much to you know, the world of horror. But we're also very excited to show you the completion of the story we started in chapter 1, which was the story of Sam, and showing her arc. You know what I mean? Because in the first part, right, she's going through a lot. She's lost her mother. There she is, Victoria Miro. There she is.
She was there. The scene where
fantastic.
She's up in the attic and she sees her friend Justine and her breakdown. I was very good performance. Very good performance. And it was she kind of, you know, she really let go of her comfort zone, because you've seen like cry scenes in movies where you can tell when somebody's kind of playing it safe. And then I always, and I know you're gonna laugh at me, but I always bring it back to Rocky 3 when Mick dies.
Yes,
and that is one of the most unique cry performances I've ever seen. But that's how people cry sometimes.
Well,
you know?
and it also helps with Stallone, because he's anyway, that when he cries, it's so it sounds even more crazy. It sounds even more unhinged.
Yeah.
No, you're right. Look,
oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm just going to finish. I was going to say
it was a vulnerable performance. Okay,
it was, and but so in the first part, right? She's vulnerable because she's going through a lot. You can tell that when she's out on that porch and she's by herself before her friend, you know, comes out. She's dealing with a lot emotionally. She's lost her mother. She thinks she's just lost her grandmother, right? You know, she's dealing with a lot. And then she turns to her friend and says, I need to start taking care of myself, Emma. I don't want to end up like her.
Yeah.
And then Emma says, you're not like her. You're strong like your grandma. Right. And so she was obviously talking about her mother, and she's just dealing with a lot. And then she suddenly is thrust into this situation where she doesn't know what happened to her friend Emma. Then she finds her friend in the attic, completely, she's murdered. And then she does the right thing. She runs out of the house, but then she runs into the arms of danger. And oh my God, she's tossed. Oh my God. Well, now we need to see her. That line wasn't just a line we wrote in. This sounds like a cool line. We knew it was foreshadowing if we had the opportunity to complete the story, because you're not like her. You're strong like your grandma, was one of the last things that her friend said to her. Right.
Yeah.
And so it's that thing that is in her that she now takes to the basement. And just when all hope is lost, she rediscovers hope from her grandmother, and her grandmother was starting to lose hope, and she rediscovers that hope in her granddaughter. And now the two are coming together now to sort of reignite that hope in each other, to be able to fight back against the clutches of Christmas evil. And so we're really excited to be able to show you Sam's arc and Sam's,
her progression as a character.
Exactly. So for everybody out there who thought, oh, I really like the movie, but it kind of just ended, we know. And now is the chance. We want to show you how it completes. And with Olivia Hussey,
I got a question for you guys, because I'm thinking about this too. I can tell how passionate you guys are about this story and this project. And Sam is such a strong, great character. You probably feel pretty protective of her as writers. How do I phrase this question? Because is it weird when you are writing a character that in your mind, and I don't want to speak for you, you might feel like this is a very important character in this legacy now, and I want to make sure I don't screw this up. Is there that pressure?
I think from my point of view, we really focused our energy on writing a good story. We wanted it to be something, so we really concentrated more on that. If there was any pressure, trying to keep that at bay, and really try to keep our focus, like hyper laser focused in on, let's write a good character that's got depth to her. She's got a complete arc. She's got agency, that she's modeled in the same vein as Jess Bradford. And we did our best to do that. And I think where we're going in part 2, you're now going to see that arc completed. And you're going to I don't know. I really do believe that whether you're a Black Christmas film fan or not, like you said in the beginning, if you were to watch the first part and you watch the second part, you watch those together back to back, I think you'll just be very satisfied by the end of it and really enjoy this journey. And I think you'd be satisfied with where these characters land, what happens to them, the choices they make, where they go. It'll just be, a roller coaster where you're just like, on the edge of your seat. It's like where that's so much of what we're so excited about in telling the story. So for me, I think from my point of view, it was when working with Dave, we talked a lot about how do we make this a really good story. And we did our best to really pull from the 1974 film. And one of the things I love that really smart writing will do, say with, if it's Easter eggs in, Marvel films to, other things where there's that continuity. We were able to take something from nothing in a way. And what I mean by that is, for example, the cop on the porch at the very end of the movie. So it's this innocuous character that, it's just a cop smoking a cigarette on the deck at the end of the movie. And there's, you don't see him anywhere else. He has no importance. That's what I mean by the nothing. And then to take that and turn it into something, and to bridge off of moments like that and flesh that out, because, and I think the last thing I'll say is that's one of the things that got me excited when Dave pitched the project to me, because thinking that we could tell the story 45, 50 years later it leaves you all of this room to
Mm-hmm.
create and to invent, and then go back and go, well, what happened to this character over this time? What would Billy look like today?
Right.
How would he be? And we really wanted to convey him as this unhinged character with no limits to him. And what does that character look like? Like, what is it like? Just
Mm-hmm.
the creative energy that goes into that, like that's where we get really excited. And I certainly had some of the most fun when writing and thinking about the characters, and Sam in particular. So she's very much an anchor, you know, a backbone throughout that ties it all together, you know?
She is. And I agree with everything that, that Bruce said. And I'll just add that, you know, I find it, I think what's so cool about this, being able to do this, like we said, there's something that Bruce said there at the end, which is totally true, is that because Black Christmas never had any sequels, and like I said, I fully understand that it doesn't necessarily need one, but because it doesn't, there is no mythology, there is no lore.
Yeah.
It's just that one movie, and I do understand that there are, just like I'm a Halloween purist, there are Black Christmas purists out there that do not agree that Jess survived that night, because if you pay attention, Billy makes a phone call after every kill. And of course, at the end of the movie, he's creeping down from the attic and there's a phone call that's being made. We hear the phone ringing, you know, and people have led to think that, well, that must mean that he's killed Jess. However, Bob Clark, the director of the movie, has even said that that's not necessarily true. He says, I understand why people can think that, and that's fair. It's why it's there. But a few years before he passed away, it might have been before the 06 remake, because I do know he was a producer on the 06 remake, and he passed away in 07. But sometime, I don't know, late 90s, early 2000s or something, he had contemplated doing a sequel and bringing back Olivia Hussey to play the house mother to a new group of girls. So even Bob Clark, it wasn't solidified in his mind that she definitely died. But because it is ambiguous, there's so much. Where do you go? Like, there's so many. Oh, we've lost Bruce. We've lost Bruce. I think he'll. I'm sure he'll be back. I'm sure he'll be back. He'll be back. But there's so many, like so many things that you know. So much untapped potential and so much lore to explore, you know, and that kind of thing. So,
well, there he is. You know, Billy might be one of the most mysterious killers ever created. And one of the big strengths of Halloween is how mysterious Myers is and how they don't really tell any of his backstory.
That's right.
And you could even argue that Billy's even more of a mystery. You know, I mean, and they leave the ending so ambiguous that
they do.
You know, there are all these different theories about, you know, could Peter be the killer?
Right.
And I love that. I love that you can kind of form your own conclusions and create your own lore like you guys have done.
Yeah, but we're doing it still respecting the source material and still respecting. We're not exploiting it. We're not, you know, doing crazy avant-garde, you know, things and being artsy fartsy. No, we wrote a story that, and anybody, I mean, if a fan wants to go out and make their own version of what happened next, all the power to them. For us, this was a story that we created that felt organic, that felt like everything was properly motivated, and it made sense. It made the most sense you could, making a direct sequel 50 years later. I mean, there's only so many roads that you can take, right? And we decided to do it this way, and we're very, very excited about it. And of course, we have Lynn Griffin on as well, which is really exciting too. So
she's awesome. She's lovely lady, and just really great energy about her. Very excited to work with her and just everybody again. It's going to be really cool. And
now you reached out. Did you reach out to Lynn Griffin? Because I remember, I think it was like last year or something like that. Has she even seen your movie?
Yeah, in 2020, when we were doing this kind of thing for the campaign back then, I had reached out to Lynn and asked if she wanted to come on McRae Live and just kind of, do an interview and blah, blah, blah. And she said, yes, she'd love to. So she did. And through that process, we found out that we have the same voiceover agent, which is funny.
Cool.
So it's a big industry, but a small industry at the same time. And so then she made her famous Black Christmas tree ornaments that she signs. Yeah. And she made them for our campaign last time. There might be some other stuff coming. I'm just saying in a few weeks. There might be some
link
surprise
is a
perks coming.
Comment in the chat, guys.
Yes, please, folks. Anything we would really appreciate if you picked it. Yeah, $1, donate $1. Well, we don't have any perks that are $1, but you can donate $1, I think.
Yeah, just donate.
But the Blu-rays, I think, would be a great gift to have. So yeah, anything you can do to help us out would be greatly appreciated. But so we wanted to get Lynn in chapter 2, but the character she played in the original is dead. So we had to figure out a way to, how do we get her into the movie, and would she even want to be in the movie? So we wrote a character that made sense, and we approached her, and she loved the idea, and she said yes, she would absolutely do it. So she's playing the sister of Claire, who was killed in the original. So Claire is the one that was killed with the bag over her head, even though Lynn, I think, is only alive for about 10 minutes in that movie. She's peppered throughout the entire movie, dead in the Rocky.
Yeah, they just keep showing her.
It's one of the most iconic images in all of horror.
Say that. Yeah, 100%. Still to this day, there will be movies I see, and I'll be, they're doing the kill again.
100%.
It's been homaged so many times.
Many times.
It's one of the coolest. And by the way, the scene in the car when the camera's going forward, and you see the what was the blonde character's name? Emma. Yeah, you see Emma with the bag overhead. Yeah, beautifully done. I was like, oh, that's so cool.
Well, it's fun. I mean, it's on T-shirts. It's on not ours. I mean, Lynn's is on T-shirts and the official poster. There she is in the chair. And it's one of the symbols.
Almost every poster.
100%. It's one of the symbols of the movie. And so, well, she couldn't play her again because she's dead. So as I said, it was never outrightly said that Claire had a sister, but it wasn't said that she didn't. So we thought maybe she did. So that's who she's playing. She's playing a woman by the name of Nancy, who is Claire's sister. And Nancy is hell-bent on solving her sister's 50-year-old cold case. She's angry. She wants it, and something's up. We can't go into all the details of it, but there's something up. That's right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. That's right.
This super chat real quick, because it's Black Christmas related. Matthew Pharisee, he says, saw Black Christmas for the first time about 12 years ago. Even then, it was easy to find. I continue to love the movie. I love Michael Myers the most, but Billy edges him out in the creep factor. Would you guys agree with that? Is Billy creepier than Michael Myers?
I would think Billy is. I certainly think the first, because there's only been one Billy movie, really, we can't include the 2006 one. Yeah. He's very creepy in that movie, but Michael's very creepy in the first Halloween too. So I think it's quite comparable, but Billy isn't supernatural. I think Billy is, not that Michael is in the first movie either, but Michael Myers in the first Halloween has it's very clear and communicated to the audience that there is what John Carpenter likes to call a supernatural edge. So you're not quite sure, like he's there and then he's gone. You know what I mean? It's like, it's, how could he, so there's this something about Michael that's always kind of like, is there something kind of, with Billy, there's none of that. It's just full on, this is a human being. And that in some ways can be even more frightening in a lot of ways.
And definitely comparable. Thank God that they never made Billy supernatural, because he doesn't really need to be.
Although if they made 5 sequels, he probably would have been.
Eventually it would crop up.
Yeah,
he would get blasted through a wall.
You know that, Lee. Eventually, by Black Christmas Part 5, Billy would be shot through a wall. His head would fall off. It would like roll over and reattach.
Yeah, exactly.
It's ridiculous.
I actually think that Yeah, I actually think that he's scarier as a real person
Right.
because people can relate to him more as a real person.
Mhm.
There's a lack of disconnect. You can't
Yeah.
compartmentalize it quite the same. And he could even remind people of people that, people have come across or other characters we've seen in documentaries, from news stories in the past to,
That's
whatever.
right.
Like um, yeah, I find that scarier personally.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now I gotta ask, going back to Olivia Hussey,
Mm.
was that the intention from the beginning of even It's Me Billy? When you first cropped up the idea, say, hey, maybe we could get Olivia Hussey to, or when did that idea pop in your head? And then I want to know, without anything that you can tell me about how you were able to do it.
I'll take the first part. Bruce can take the second part.
For sure.
I'll say that yes, it always was the dream, right? The goal.
Did you feel it would
Uh,
like it would be impossible? Like the first thought of it, like there's no way we're going to get Olivia Hussey.
I don't know if we thought it would be impossible. I just think we thought it would be very difficult
Yeah.
because she is a private person. She's not acting much anymore. And so, she's not as accessible as a lot of, former horror actors or things like that. She does appear at a convention here and there. She was at
Yeah.
Chiller in October last year, but she doesn't do the convention circuit. I mean, she's not like, she's not like, Nick Castle or Robert Englund, who are at like, 10 conventions a year, or something like that. I mean, she's very private. She comes out once in a blue moon. And when she does, it's really special. And when she does, it's also usually for Romeo and Juliet. I mean, that was
a
her.
big one.
That's what shot her to stardom. She became a worldwide sensation in 1968 because of that movie as a very young teenager. It was like the twilight of, 1968. Right. And so, and that's what she's probably most known for broadly, more of a general thing. And, so very rarely anything to do with Black Christmas. So we knew it would be difficult. We knew that, yeah, it would be very hard, but it was always the goal. Like from the second that we wrote that cliffhanger, I'll say that we made a few attempts to try and see if we can get her in the first movie.
Oh wow. Okay.
So it was always a thing. It didn't pan out because we were having difficulty tracking her down, her reps down at that time in 2020. But an effort was made. So that goes to show you where we were even back then. That we wanted this. I mean, It's Me, Billy is a legacy. Again, I understand it's a fan film. It's not for profit, but it is, for all intents and purposes, it is the Black Christmas legacy sequel. And we are honoring the legacy of how important the movie is, how important it is to the genre. And we felt that, I mean, who else can we get to play? Now, we would do it if we needed to, because we would, but we really wanted to exhaust all our resources and opportunities to see if we can get Olivia on board. So yeah, it was always a goal, and thankfully we did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, in terms of I can't really share too much, obviously, but what I can say is that we reached out through official channels with her, got in touch with her manager, really nice guy, really great guy, and had some conversations and talked things through. We did share the first movie. We shared a copy of the script for the second movie. Talked through what we were wanting to do and painting some of that vision so that he could convey that to Olivia so that she'd have a good understanding of that, and conveying that to him as well, and really put our best foot forward. We did our best to just represent the project and the ideas and ourselves as best as we can, and obviously it paid off. So took I think we were probably in communication for a couple of weeks or so, and then we were able to to land where we did. So super thankful, super humbled by it, and very excited. Very excited.
Yeah, and it was always our goal too. That I said to Bruce, I said, wouldn't it be great if we could launch the campaign with her attached?
Yeah.
And when we knew we were going to be able to do it, it was like, you know, yeah, it was wild. It was wild. I mean, it's wild. Like I think that's what people. I'm going. You know, I want to echo something that I think you both said earlier in the stream, which is true, is that even if you're not a rumblings going on. Sorry, I don't know if you can hear that. It's like,
that's Billy.
It's Billy. He's in the attic right now. Listen. But it's like, even if you're not, and I understand, because Black Christmas is you know, is a very niche sort of thing. It's a cult movie. I understand that not a lot of people are Black Christmas crazy, and I get that, and I respect that. But we're doing something here that I think is really cool, just in the world of horror. Again, you know, I understand it's a fan film and it's unofficial, but we are delivering a professional product through and through, from top to bottom. So it has to have the fan film label on it. So when we produce it, before we put it on all of the, you know, marketing and, you know, the promo material, we have to put a little stamp on it, you know, before it can go out to the world. Yes, because we don't own the intellectual property, but the product in and of itself is something that, yes, is could absolutely play on Prime or Hulu or, you know, wherever, and you wouldn't bat an eye. And that's intentional. That's not by accident. We've hired the right people. We've surrounded ourselves with professionals. We're shooting on professional equipment, doing our best to deliver a professional product. And it's really cool that, so it's just, now that she's on board and we are doing chapter 2, you know, it's really special. And we hope that, you know, horror fans from around the world will help us see that, help to see the significance of it. You know, even if you're not a big fan of it, see the cultural significance to the sort of what we're doing. Like I said, it's the equivalent of having Jamie Lee Curtis on a professionally produced Halloween
matter
fan
of fact,
film.
I even say this might be, correct me if I'm wrong, is this, if not the first, one of the first times a legacy final girl from an original movie is showing up in a, for lack of a better phrase, fan film.
Yeah,
would that be correct? Maybe I think there was a Jason one that had also.
I was just gonna say, had Adrian King. Jason Rising had Adrian King, who was the final girl from the very first Friday the 13th movie from 1980, which was great. That was really cool. Yeah. She was great. And they also had the voice of Amy Steele at the very end of that movie on the phone, who was the final girl from Friday the 13th Part 2. So, and of course you have the final guy in Tom Matthews and, you know, Vince's movies, right?
I was actually going to bring that up. I mean, I think Vince might have been one of the first to actually get a legacy character.
Definitely.
And he kind of opened the floodgates to what's possible with fan films now.
Yeah, he did. Well, because he delivered a product that was also a fan film in name only. Yeah. You know, and so there's this illusion there's a stigma around fan films, and totally understand that. Absolutely. But there's an illusion that's created when you can deliver something of professional quality, from the acting to the production value to everything.
Is dissipating. I really do.
Well, I think it's beginning to. Yeah.
Yeah. To those in the chat that haven't seen It's Me Billy, it's on YouTube. When Dave talks about professional, trust me, when you watch the first It's Me Billy, it is one of the most professional looking fan films I've ever seen. You know,
appreciate that.
The quality of the camera work. You can tell that you guys, you know how to make a film, how to put a scene together. Stuff that's not that easy, you know. And
no, it's not.
Yeah, it's not, and it looks amazing. Just to get to this little super chat here, Bronson Wright Wolf, he says, I have never seen Black Christmas. I hope to check it out in the future. By the way, guys, every super chat you send me, I'm donating to this. Okay, just so you guys know.
Thank you.
I appreciate that, man.
You're not getting the taxes, but you're getting.
I totally get it.
I'm just totally get it. Whatever the amount is, it's going to you guys.
Okay.
I want this movie made. All right. I have never seen Black Christmas. Well, I'm only got 3. First off, Bronson, do yourself a favor. I hope to check it out in the future. I'm curious though, do you guys like the original or the remake better? Well, it depends on which remake you're talking about. I'll go first. Yeah, of course, the original's by far the best. I will say,
yeah.
I do have a soft spot for the 2006. I love that Glenn Morgan was such a massive fan of the original, and he was kind of taken from Bob Clark's playbook. Like Bob Clark had some of these ideas,
yes,
but the final film wasn't fully his vision that he wanted. You know, I don't know how much different his vision was, but I can still see the charm there, and I can still see how much he loved Black Christmas. The 2019 remake can kindly go fuck itself.
Yeah.
To be as professional as possible. Go ahead, Dave.
I was just gonna say, obviously the original is my favorite. The 06 movie is I feel about the 06 movie like I do Rob Zombie's Halloween. And it's a sense of that it's very different. It's, you know, you see Billy, it's crazy. It's just off the wall, but you got to give credit in the sense of, well, they didn't just do the same thing over again.
Yeah.
You know, they did reimagine it. I don't agree with the creative direction and the choices because it's just not my style, but they did make it as, you know, it's not just a carbon copy beat for beat remake of the first one. And that's sort of like what Rob Zombie's Halloween is. Although there are some story beats in there that are the same. You know, it's like his part 2, right? You know, very different and not my cup of tea, but you got to give sort of credit for doing that. And then the 19 movie is just, it's only Black Christmas. I don't understand why they even use that name. I don't know. Anyway, that's how I feel about it.
Now we have 3 Halloweens and we have 3 Black Christmases entirely.
Right.
You know?
That's true. It's true. That's right. Yes.
Thank you, Norris, by the way. He didn't really have a question, but he was saying huge congrats to you guys. I know this is gonna fund. But it does take you guys to get in there and make. You can sit back and think, I don't need to donate because I know this is going to fund because it's Dave McRae and it's Bruce Dale and it's gonna. No, you gotta help out. You gotta jump in. And you get in the
we
credits.
Appreciate every bit. Every bit counts.
Everything. Yeah. And again, not to beat a dead horse here, but always remember that it just takes a lot of people coming in low. When I say low, I just mean like buying a Blu-ray. You know, you know, you just buy if. Like again, I mean, if I'm going to speak in the world of Canadian dollars here, because what most people will see is in US. So when you hear this number, I'm talking Canadian. Let's say 950 people, let's say, all bought a Blu-ray. Let's just say, right? That would give us $57,000 towards our production budget. And the fact that, I mean, I have 3,500 people that follow me on, you know, Facebook. I have over 3,000 people that follow me on Instagram. You have over 55,000 subs here on, I mean, all it takes is 950 people. That's it. Yeah. When you think about it, it's not that difficult. It just, the difficult part is convincing people to actually do it.
Well, to drive it even further, look at it this way. You go to Best Buy, a brand new 4K movie is gonna probably cost you close to $40, right?
Yeah,
you're in that ballpark with this, but you're getting a movie made. You know,
you're getting a movie made,
Blu-ray, but you're getting a freaking Black Christmas sequel made.
Well, not only that, with the Blu-ray, you get the Blu-ray, of course, right? I think it'll come to maybe about $40-45 with shipping, I think, or something like that. But what you get with it is you get the Blu-ray, you get your name in the end credits of the movie.
Yep.
And you get the digital download package. So you'll get an official high resolution image of the official poster. You'll get the movie in full HD digitally as well. You'll get a copy of our script that you can read through digitally.
That's cool.
You get promotional, high resolution promotional still images from the first movie and the second movie, all for about $45.
Yeah.
So
and you get the email, the updates.
That's right.
Thank you email, all that stuff.
100%. 100%. Yeah. That's all
I
we
watched
need.
the Blu-ray today of the first It's Me, Billy. And you could watch it on YouTube, but man, the quality was just freaking crystal clear. And I was just like, damn, this looks amazing.
Yeah.
You know, so
it's great.
That's a question I have for you guys. The first It's Me, Billy Blu-ray, is there a way for people to still get that?
Yeah. There's one of the perks for this campaign is a dual pack where you get the first movie and the second movie on Blu-ray. So yes, it's
If
I
you
think it's
scroll
about
down there, Lee.
Yeah, let
I
me
think it's
scroll
about
down.
$90 Canadian,
Yeah.
which I'm not sure what the conversion is in US dollars, but
It'll
yeah,
say here.
because we had a lot of people ask us if they could get the first movie on
Oh,
There it
Blu-ray.
is.
So
Yeah.
so we
Yeah, there you
decided
go.
to put it
Both
up
films right there.
as a
Yep.
dual pack. Yeah. So only, again, to Dave's point, $67, you're getting both the first movie and the second movie. Remember, there's also behind the scenes. Like on the first movie, there's a 1 hour behind the scenes.
I watched that actually.
Making
Really, really
up.
interesting stuff.
Yeah, like and one of the things that we wanted to do with that was actually show you a little bit more than what you get to see with other documentaries in a similar vein. We wanted to show a little bit more of the process of setting up the equipment. You get to see, the jib arm to the track being, laid out to the cameras being set up. There's a time lapse that we put in where you get to see the zoom lens, the big zoom lens that we used for the crash zooms,
Yep.
seeing that set up. And there's a lot that goes into it, and just how big and massive the lens is. So, because that's one of the things that certainly as a filmmaker and sort of hopefully appealing to just anybody who loves movies, to get that insider look into what goes into this. And I think it also gives you a sense of just how professional the quality is.
Yeah.
Yeah, not just the disc itself, but also the package. I mean, it feels like a real, like a professional Blu-ray. And what I would say to everybody watching is, if you don't have the first It's Me Billy, here's your chance to get it.
Yeah,
I'm a
worth
big
it.
fan of physical media. I love my horror physical media collection. I proudly put It's Me Billy right next to my Black Christmas Blu-ray. I have like 3 Black Christmas Blu-rays.
Nice.
Now I have to have, because I'm like OCD, I have to have part 2 in my collection.
Of course.
And you're supporting physical media. So
of course. Yeah. No, and your entire donation goes into the production. Your entire donation helps to make this movie with this actress a reality.
Yeah.
And that's not hyperbole. I mean, that's we can't do it without you. It's been announced, and she's on board, and everybody has been wonderful. And we want to say to everybody that has donated so far, thank you so much. We love you guys. We appreciate it. Everybody who is about to donate, we love you guys. We appreciate it so much. But we do need to raise the money in order to make the movie. It's just the reality of shooting a professionally made film, so we need everybody to come out. Like I said, all those 950 people, where are you? 950 people. Let's all step up and just kind of, buy a Blu-ray.
Yeah. I want, please do not let the opportunity for Olivia Hussey to return to Black Christmas pass you by.
No,
be a part of
it's
that.
going to be cool.
Yeah,
you're gonna love it. It's just like I want everybody to take a moment and imagine, you've got Sam in the basement. She's like, "Grandma," and then you hear the chains in the darkness, and you hear the sounds of someone, and you see Jess Bradford, emerge from the darkness and step toward camera, but it's not just anybody. It's
Olivia.
It's Olivia as
Jess.
Jess.
That's exactly what I thought at the end of the movie when I watched it today when she was Grandma. I was like, oh my God, the next movie we're gonna see Olivia Hussey in chains, Wow. It's gonna be insane.
I just think people will really enjoy it. And I think to add, a little bit more to it, because it's fair, not everybody really has an understanding of like, well, why is it so expensive to make a movie?
Right.
And there's a lot of things that go into it. Like you have to rent the equipment, to paying for the insurance on the equipment, also for the cast and crew. You've got to rent the location. You need insurance for the location. There's also all of the logistics for the travel. Because we're filming out of town, because of the location we found, the location is everything in this as well. It's a character in of itself. So all of those logistics, there's costs associated with it. And we do our best to, we're very very mindful and very responsible with the budget. And we can say, even with the first movie, 100% of everything went into the making of that movie. Dave and I even had to pitch in our own dollars and
Out of
cents.
pocket. Yep.
There was a lot that we contributed, and there's a lot that we are already contributing to this one, and we'll have to. But we do it because we love it, and we do it because it's what brings us joy. Like, it's our passion, it's our dream. Like, it's, what I mean? We're really, as filmmakers, we're in this for that, the artistry and the craft of filmmaking, to tell a great story, something that's compelling, that people will enjoy, and, feel great to go back and watch time and time again. Like, for real, like, just all of that. It's I don't know, I fell in love with movies when I was a kid, and I just still love it to this day.
It's true. It's
enough. Yeah.
No, I just wanted to say that, no, it does. It takes, if you've never made a movie, or maybe you're not quite sure, you could say, well, I could make a short movie for $10,000. And it's like, yeah, you absolutely could. You could, but you couldn't make it on the Airy Mini for $10,000 and have Olivia Hussey and rent this house and go SAG-AFTRA and, and do all this. It's a union, film as well. So, when you make a movie, the way we're making movies, it costs a lot of money. And in the world of movies, US, I think it's about 88,000 is the budget. That's still, believe it or not, a low budget, nothing movie. That's considered a nothing movie. I mean, the Blair Witch Project cost more than that.
When I was promoting this stream, and somebody was stating, like, who needs $88,000 to make a movie? And I was like, do you even realize what it takes to make? Because I think a lot of people, I guess a lot of unlearned people, they look at a budget for a movie and they think that that's just, I don't know, in the film stock or something like that. They don't think about the logistics and, all the way down to the catering. Everything costs money. Time is money. Every day you spend on that set. That's why directors are cranky son of bitches, because every day time is money. We're wasting time. That's why they're constantly pushing everybody. Let's go, because it literally is dollars adding up.
No, look.
Go ahead.
So no, I was just going to say, no, you're absolutely right. And without getting into specifics, I mean, just the rental of the house, where we are, is thousands of dollars, and so, I mean, that's what, and then of course there's, we have to put everybody up in a hotel, casting crew, and then of course we have to feed everybody 3 meals a day for a week, and then we have to, as Bruce was saying, the production insurance and the rentals and the, I mean, it's a lot of money, but in the end, if we have the production budget, it's worth it, because then we're able to deliver a professional product like we did the first time. And that's why the movie looks and sounds and is presented as professionally as it was, is because we had the budget to do it. Now, somebody could say, well, why is the budget more? Well, again, not to get into specifics, but we have Olivia Hussey on board. So obviously your budget is going to go up, but also things in the world have gone up. It's more expensive to live today. It's more expensive to make movies today. Right. And the first production was a non-union gig. This is a union film now. So obviously costs go up because of that. Our entire cast is now union. So, there are, again, budgets shouldn't be, at least for myself and Bruce, they're not arbitrary numbers, right? We break it down. This is what we need. This is cast, crew, this is insurance, this is, accommodations, craft services, flights, hotels, all this stuff. And then we come up with this number, and that's the number we ask for.
Yeah, because we prefer to be transparent and upfront.
That's right.
We don't want to mislead or misguide anybody. What we're asking for is what we need to make it happen. And that's based on the budget that we've constructed. And, to Dave's point, we've been very detailed with it, and making sure that those numbers are accurate. So it's, the logistics and even the planning. And just to give people a point of reference, like, I don't know if people have seen the movie Moon. It's an American film. I think budget, really great budget or movie. Stars Sam Rockwell and Kevin Spacey as the voice of the robot. And that film, I think, was something about maybe $5.5 million to make. And in the US, a budget of around 5 million is really classified as a low budget American independent film.
Yeah.
So to come in at $88,000, it's like, are you on the radar? What I don't,
$88,000 is like the craft service budget on a Marvel movie for a day.
Yeah. Oh, it is.
You know what I mean? It's
But
like,
I think what's great is that, Dave and I really make smart choices, financially responsible choices to really maximize every dollar that you're donating. So again, 100% of everything that you contribute goes to the making of this movie through and through.
That's right.
100%. So we appreciate everything, and everything and anything matters and helps every step of the way. Yeah.
One thing I noticed about, I guess from the beginning of the campaign for It's Me Billy, the first one with you guys, is everything feels so like tight knit and professional all the way through. And it feels like it's kind of following the same suit here. But when you look at the finished product, I see personally, I see just professionalism. That entire movie, it doesn't look like it's just thrown together. It looks like every scene was carefully thought out. This angle needs to be this way because this character's doing this thing. Everything feels so professional. And when you tell me that, I think It's Me Billy was what, $60,000?
64,000 Canadian.
Yeah, 64,000 Canadian. And then, I'm watching the movie and I swear to God, it looks like, one of those $5 million movies that you see.
Yeah.
I can't tell the difference, so I can tell that you guys are very cognizant of time management and making sure that you schedule everything, your days, and making sure, I'm kind of that way myself with my day to day. Every hour counts. I try to, take advantage of my time because I have a full-time job. I have a family. I have a YouTube thing.
Yep. Time
matters. And so I can see that when people are actually putting, taking that stuff seriously, which you guys do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
for sure.
100%. Because I relate to your position 100%. Lee, I've got a family, full-time job as well, doing this. And, it's exciting, right? You do it because you love it. And, you just do it because you love it. And it just
absolutely.
It brings you that joy, and it's part of your purpose. So you just you want to do it, you commit to it.
Yeah, we really want to make this movie, and we really, again, folks, we can't do it without you. Next year is the 50th anniversary of Black Christmas.
Yeah. Oh, that would be amazing. Yeah.
And our goal is to release this movie on the 50th anniversary with Olivia Hussey attached to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, guys, we need your help. We do.
Could there be a shot where maybe Billy calls Olivia Hussey on the phone? I mean, you don't have to answer that, but
we don't want to give any spoilers.
I don't want to give anything away. But I did have a question about the phone call too, because when I was watching the movie today, and I'm seeing, is it Victoria Marrow?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and saying she's answering the phone, and my first thing is like, Dave, is that your voice?
Yes. Oh yeah. Yeah. There's only there's two times. Is it two or is it once? I think it's twice where it's not me, and it's Brian Charles Peter who played the actual physical presence of Billy, but the 99.9% of the call is me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Was that a tough thing to edit together? That performance?
Funny enough, it was, because you think it would be easy because you're creating it's tough because what you're doing is you're creating the illusion of incoherent random nonsense.
Yeah.
But within that incoherent random nonsense, there are things that Billy says that make sense and that are clues. He's up there, that are clues to sort of the story and things, which is very
I caught that.
Similar to what happened in the original film as well. And like in our film, there's a line where when the three girls are paying attention to the phone and they've got the phone in their hand, they, you hear me as, saying, I should have killed the baby.
Yeah, yeah. I remember that.
Well, that's not arbitrary. I mean, what's he talking about? What baby?
Yeah.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
we know that Jess was pregnant.
Yeah.
Right. You know what I mean? Well, what does that mean? What does it mean? So he had an opportunity to kill the baby. Whoa, what does that mean? Are we ever going to find that out? Like, how is that? So he had an opportunity to get, how does, and of course those, well, we can't say anything, but so there's little, like, yes, there's a lot of, there's a lot of that, but you have to pepper in stuff that makes sense. Like when you listen to the original film, Billy, yeah, you hear all the, but then you hear, of course, it's like having a wart removed. And then you hear, even in the first movie, he's talking about the baby and Agnes and, what did you do with Agnes and all that. It's like, what is that? There's little clues about his story and who he is, but still maintaining that real ambiguity. So it was, you think it'd be easy, but no, it was actually hard to kind of weave the incoherent nonsense in with stuff that made sense, that sounded like it had a flow, if that makes any sense, even though it does, like it wasn't easy. I spent a lot of time on it. Bruce would come over, we'd do a couple of passes, listening to it, and then we might change the order of maybe we should put the before the and put the at the and maybe it works a bit better or whatever. So it's a little things like that.
Were you a little nervous about that? Because that is a big staple of Black Christmas, is you got to have a phone call in there, and you got to have crazy insanity, incoherent gibberish with a couple of sprinkled clues in there. Was there any pressure going into this movie? Like, oh, if this fails, the whole movie could fail.
That line is actually true. It's very much like if Freddy doesn't look like Freddy, I wasn't as a voice actor, I was confident that I could deliver. I delivered it at the end of the Indiegogo teaser of the first movie. So that was, or of the not the first movie. Well, it was the first movie, but the Indiegogo teaser that we had for our first campaign, and that was a good sort of test run. Everybody loved it. Like they thought, oh my God, that sounds exactly like him. So I felt confident that I could deliver it. It was just making sure that it sounded like Billy, but it may be even more crazy to some degree because it's been 50 years.
Yeah, we wanted that. You needed to hear through the voice the evolution of the character. And again, like I was saying before, that what's happened to this guy over the last 45, 50 years, and who is he today? These are important questions you have to ask yourself as a writer, as a director. And then from a director point of view, like how does that come to life on the screen? Like through the sound, through the voice, through the physical actions of the character. So, you needed to hear some of that age because he's older now, but then, again, you hear the evolution and where he might be in his mind at that point in his life, which is also in part what makes it scarier too, because
that's right.
Imagine what he's doing when he's 20 to what he's doing now, like, at his age now, it's like,
like the mental decay, the cognitive decay. I mean, if he was like that in 1974, where is he now? He's got this long hair and he's just there and he's, unkept and this beard and, he doesn't care anymore. He's the non-functioning psychotic, whereas Agnes is the functioning psychotic. Right?
Yeah.
So
now there's a scene in the movie where she cuts the phone cord, she's like, fuck you. And she's done. Yeah. And then later in the movie, I think she goes into a different room and the phone rings again. And I literally jumped. I was like, holy shit, he's back.
Yeah, no, she removes the phone, the cord from the wall. She unplugs it, wraps it around the base. Then when she's at the front door, she hears it ring and she turns and she looks because she's thinking to herself, wait a minute, I unplugged that phone. What the fuck is it doing ringing? You know what I mean? And then she goes and answers it. Of course, it's
so Billy kind of replugged it back in or something.
I guess so. Billy, maybe Agnes.
That's what you let the audience kind of form their own conclusions. Yeah. Like, how did that happen again?
That's right.
It was a nice moment of tension, and that it catches you off guard. Like, oh shit, the phone rings. It rings again.
It does. Yeah.
Let me grab the super chat here real quick. By the way, guys, donate. Okay, click on the link. It's in the info box.
Yes, please do. I realize. I think we're at. Let me see here. Let me just hit refresh. I'm looking on my phone here. We're at 223 backers. Thank you so much. I would love it if we could get to 225 before the end of the stream. That would be cool. I mean, I don't want to, I'd love it if it was 230, but I don't want to push my luck. You know, I don't want to push my luck.
Yeah.
But an extra 2 backers would be cool. Maybe an extra 2 Blu-rays. That would be awesome. Would really appreciate that.
Would you say we're at 223 right now?
Yeah, you need to refresh the page, I think.
Yeah, okay. Let me refresh
that refresh.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. Where's the refresh button?
I don't want to screw it up. I'll take your word for it.
Where's the refresh button, folks?
I know. Well, I was trying to refresh it, and then my computer said "fuck you," and it wanted to do something else. So.
Oh, I see. Yeah, no worries. No worries.
Computers
yeah, no, it says.
Time.
Yeah, I don't know why they do that. Those damn computers. Yeah, no, it says 220. Yeah, 223 backers. We're so close to 20%. We're so close to 20%. I would love to get to 20%. You know, well, I'd love to get to 20% I'd love to get to 25% by the end of the weekend, but we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see
Bronson Wright Wolf says, I have an interesting fact to share with you guys. I read on IMDb that Black Christmas from 1974 is Steve Martin's favorite horror movie. I can add to that, Bronson. Couple things. I know that Quentin Tarantino had his own private reel of Black Christmas, and that's he was one of the reasons why the movie started getting a little bit more buzz. I know Quentin Tarantino loves Black Christmas. And then here's a factoid I recently just read is that Elvis Presley was a fan of Black Christmas.
Yeah,
and, he died in 77. Black Christmas comes out in 74. So but I heard that like up until he died, every Christmas, him and his family, they would watch Black Christmas, which I did not expect that at all. I was like, damn, that's pretty freaking cool.
Yeah, that's what I heard too.
Yeah,
it's really cool. It's really cool. And if Steve Martin wants to donate to the campaign, I'm just saying. If Tarantino wants to, just kind of finish us off here, I mean, that's pocket change for Tarantino. So I'm just saying, if he wants to,
My dog wants to donate. He's barking.
Amazing.
Yeah. Dave, I wanted to ask you, and then don't worry, we will close this out with more It's Me Billy talk. But I wanted to ask you about Freddy Krueger because you are playing Freddy Krueger in the new Dylan's New Nightmare.
I am.
Now, was that a pretty scary? I just talked about doing Billy's voice. Now, this is not just a voice. You're putting on the freaking suit, everything. How did that all come together?
Well, Cecil, it was the same summer that we went into development on chapter 1 of It's Me, Billy. Cecil had Cecil Laird of the Horror Show YouTube channel had approached me in the summer of 2019 and asked if I would be interested, basically in the Cliff Notes version, asked if I would be interested in playing Freddy Krueger in his fan film Dylan's New Nightmare. And my first thought was, well, who's like in my head, I'm thinking, well, who's all involved, right? And then I learned that Vincent DeSanti was on as a producer. That's a plus. I learned that Miko Hughes was reprising his role as Dylan. Of course, Miko was a Hollywood child star in the 90s. Everything from Pet Sematary to Kindergarten Cop to Full House to, Spawn, Mercury Rising, Apollo 13. He was in a bunch of shit. Yeah, definitely. And of course, Wes Craven's New Nightmare. Right. And so I thought, oh, that's great. And Cecil told me the story about it and how it all came to be and how he approached him at a convention and said, hey, if I wrote a script, would you read it? And he's like, yeah, I guess I'd take a look at it. So Cecil wrote a script, pitched it to Miko. Miko liked it, came on board. And I thought, well, so you got Vince on board, you got Miko on board, you got Cecil on board. This is, this sounds like these are professionals who know what they're doing. And, because I have had people ask me who've reached out because of my YouTube channel. Hey, Dave, I'm making a movie. It's in Tupelo, Mississippi. We'd love you to play this role. And I'm like, well, what's it about? But I'm like, well, you're going to have, you have to fly me out. You have to pay me. I mean, I'm a professional. I don't, I'm not just going to go down there.
Like Genie and you just show up.
Yeah, exactly. And they're like, oh, well, so, but this wasn't like that. This was very professional. And so I said yes. And then they ran a campaign and we would have shot the movie in 2020, but the what hit the world, and we were delayed. And of course, the border. I'm in Canada, so is Bruce. Obviously, we're here in Toronto, and the border between Canada and the U.S. closed, so I couldn't fly to the States unless it was not emergency, but what's the words I'm looking for? Unless it was unless I had to for some reason, and I can't think of the word now. Anyway, I didn't qualify. Dylan's New Nightmare didn't qualify. So we had to wait. And then of course we shot It's Me Billy in between all that. And finally in 2022, last November, I flew to Phoenix, Arizona, and we shot Dylan's New Nightmare for a week. And I had a wonderful time. It was fantastic. The crew was great. The cast was great. Shout out to everybody. Just a lot of fun. And the vibe on the Dylan's New Nightmare set was very similar to the vibe on the Billy set. Everybody just working hard, having fun, good times, good laughs. It was really good. I was very thankful, because I'm the only, Canadian. I'm the only one that's like flying all that way. So it was good. And everybody was fantastic. I consider them all friends. So it's really great.
Now, when you put on the getup as Freddy for the first time, when you look in the mirror, are you like kind of taken aback? Like, whoa, this is because I saw the prosthetics and it looks, it looks really good, like professional, like freaking Robert Englund.
Yeah.
So one, what was your reaction first time you saw that? And then two, did it make the performance easier?
I would say that, sorry, close that down. Yes, of course, it made the performance a lot easier, 100%. So shout out to Nora Hewitt, who was season 9 Face Off winner. I don't think the show Face Off is on anymore, but Face Off was, of course, it was like an American Idol, but for special effects makeup artists. And she won season 9. And she also went to the Tom Savini's school in Pennsylvania. Tom Savini, of course, Hollywood special effects makeup artist, Friday the 13th, and all that kind of stuff. And she graduated from that. She's worked on The Mandalorian, and I think she worked a little bit on Ghostbusters Afterlife. And so she's legit. And I love her. She's fantastic, and she's just so much fun to work with. And so she did the cast. Her and her wife Rachel did the cast of my head in 2019 before shit hit the fan. And then she outsourced the mold because they knew what they wanted it to look like. It's a combination of I think this information is out there now, so I can say this. It's a combination of A Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Freddy, which is my favorite look. He looks so mean and it's crazy.
That's my favorite too.
It's a combination of Demon Freddy from Freddy versus Jason, if you look at the ears and things like that, and then I guess a little bit of New Nightmare in there too. So she outsourced the mold to her fellow special effects makeup artist friend Mikey Rotella, who goes by Mikey Rots on Instagram, who did the new Predator, who did the creature at the end of the new movie, that horror movie Smile. He did that. Yeah, he's legit. Like he's full on Hollywood special. He's legit. Well, he did my Freddy. And so he's always wanted to do Freddy, and he's like, yeah, I'll do it. So he did it. And then Nora did the painting, right? So he did the mold, and then Nora put the foam latex on me. I think it was in 7 or 8 pieces. Took about 4.5, 5 hours. The first day I think was 6 hours because we were really trying to kind of find the groove. And then by the third day it was like 4 hours. You know what I mean? Because she had found her rhythm. And she painted it all and everything. And then, I had the contacts. It was my very first time ever wearing contacts. I've never worn contacts in my life. Thank you, Nora, for helping me. I couldn't get it in. I'm like doing this and I couldn't get it. So I actually kneeled in front of her. And I'm going like this, and she's like, okay. And she's putting the contacts in and she's doing this, and it worked. Nora, we're a team. So the next time we do it, we know what we're doing. So, but yeah, that first day in the chair, Nora had left, And I have footage of this, which I am not allowed to release yet. Once the movie is out there, there's going to be so much shit that's going to be released about this. I think there's even almost like a feature length behind the scenes documentary they're putting together.
Nice.
So there's a lot of stuff. But when I was in the getup, like full on Robert Englund, 1984 kind of shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not a mask. It's foam latex. I'm in the makeup chair for 4 hours. And she leaves to go and do something out on the set, and I'm just left in the makeup room with the mirror in front of me, and I don't see me anymore. I just see Freddy Krueger, and so I was playing around. I was doing all sorts of Freddy-isms and getting into character and playing all this stuff. And so you're going to see that, you know what I mean? Just kind of like a behind the scenes, my first day kind of getting into.
It's almost like you're looking at somebody else and not yourself.
100%. But the thing is, people have often asked me, you know, how did it feel? Was it difficult? You know, did you have to watch all the movies? I was like, I don't mean, and I've said this before, I'll say it again. What I'm about to say is I do not mean it to sound in like a braggadocious way or pretentious. I don't mean it to sound that way at all. It's just the truth. It's the truth. Yeah. It fit like a glove. I had no issues. It was like I was born to play the character. Yeah. You know, I've been a Freddy fan like a lot of us have since we were like, 5, right? You know what I mean? We were watching all the movies in the 80s. And so, I mean, I was into Freddy before I was into Michael. I mean, it came like shortly after, maybe like a year before. But a lot of kids got into Freddy and Jason before they got into Michael, because Michael, he died in the 1981 film, and then there wasn't another Halloween film until 1988. So in between 81 and 88, Freddy and Jason was what's happening, right? So a lot of kids and teenagers got into those two first. And I was no exception. So I just felt so natural in it. And I'm an actor, I'm a performer, I'm extroverted. It takes me nothing to get into the mannerisms and to perform and to do all it. And so it felt really good. It felt really, really good.
Now you've played a lot of roles. Was that one of the toughest that you've ever had to tackle? Or not really?
I don't think it wasn't one of the toughest. No. And again, I don't mean it to sound this way, but it wasn't one of the toughest, not by a long shot. But I will say it has the most expectations to it.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of, it wasn't the toughest to play, but there was definitely a lot. I know what's riding it, because like you just said, if Freddy doesn't work, then, now, I mean, it's art, right? People are going to like it. Some people aren't going to like it. I mean, that's just, that's just the nature of of the game. But I feel that I've done Robert Englund proud. I think I've done the character justice. And I think people are going to watch it and be like, yeah, that's definitely Freddy. I think he's done a really good job. That's how I feel about it anyway.
I think the stills, that have been posted online, you look fantastic.
Insane.
Like just fantastic.
Insane.
Like, I wish that the Freddy remake...
Well, Bruce has seen some of the behind the scenes.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah. You're not going to be disappointed. You're not going to be disappointed. I don't think so at all. I think, I think what Cecil and the rest of the team has done, they're going to, it's awesome. All I'll say is,
it's cool, Bruce, when you get those a little bit of, I know something that you don't know, right?
Yeah, I could just say I want more.
I will say I'm an associate producer on this Crow fan film that's coming out.
Okay,
and
cool.
I started talking about this 2 years ago with Cody Falk, and carefully planning it, and I'll give him all the credit because they're the ones making the movie. I'm kind of an advisory role. Like we literally talk just about every day. Hey, because I'm a Crow fanatic, and so he'll ask me questions and everything.
Right.
But I've seen what the title character looks like, and I'll just say when people see it, holy shit, it's really good. It's really good.
Yeah, and I feel the same with what they've done with Dave. With
Freddie. I mean, Dave looks so amazing as Freddie.
Yeah, and even the voice too. Again, hats off to you, dude. Like it's.
Thank you.
I think you did a great job.
Yeah. Obviously the voice is really important. I know that, and people have. I've told people my job is not to go in. It's funny. I think people are going to. My job was not to go in and do a Robert Englund impression, because then you're just setting yourself up for failure. I've always said that you know, as long as you can watch me and go, well, it's not Robert, but it's totally Freddy, you know, then I've won. The ironic thing about that is that there have been a few people, cast, crew, that have been like, nah, you kind of nailed it anyway.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it kind of has a Robert thing to it anyway. And I'm like,
But it
well,
works.
good. That's good then. That's good. But that wasn't
Well,
my
it's
job.
almost
Because
like
then
Robert played the character 90-ish% of the time. You know, Jackie Earle Haley only did it once.
That's right.
It's almost impossible to not squeak a little bit of that Robert Englund in a performance every now and then, right?
Well, and not only that, the makeup looks like him.
It
right.
does.
So
it
I mean,
really does.
so it you know, people are gonna, I mean, it would be different if the design of Freddy was not Robert, then people might, do you know what I mean? But because it looks like him, and it's his sort of likeness, his Freddy likeness, then I think that's only going to help the illusion. I'm very proud of it, and I'm proud of everybody that worked on it. It's the first installment, so keep that in mind. It's a short film as well, and very much like Billy and you know, Never Hike in the Snow or whatever. You know, it is. If it does well and people really like it, then hopefully people come out to support the next one so they can finish it. That's the idea, and I think people are going to enjoy it. Yeah, I do. I like what I'm seeing so far.
Yeah,
awesome.
Yeah.
Now, we're going to get into before I get into a little bit of David Gordon Green trilogy Halloween talk, I want to ask, I want to tell everybody again, to support this film, because, you know, if you don't, it doesn't get made.
It's true. We did hit 225 backers. So I really appreciate that.
Thank
we got
you.
to 20. Is it too much to push to 230? I just say it.
We can do it, guys. Come on.
We can do it. We can do it. 230. Maybe go to 230 by
big bucks. No
whatever.
whammies.
Big bucks. Just go in 50,000 right there. No, but
I'm gonna take my pants off.
What do I need to do? How many push-ups do I need? I'm gonna take my pants off.
They have so many holes in them right now that they're
somebody
half off anyway. So
somebody tunes in. The three of us are sitting here naked, and they're like, "What? What the hell just happened? What the hell just happened?"
Bruce has his shirt off. What the hell's going on?
I have no idea what happened, but they're 89% budgeted though.
Really
Holy shit! They're 89% funded, and they're naked. I guess you got to do what you got to do, you know.
Yeah, guys, seriously though, you gotta donate. Get the Blu-ray. Hey, what's the biggest perk on this thing? I didn't ask you that. What's the biggest perk? If anybody's like big bucks, you know, well, they want to just get the. Is it?
You can scroll down to the It's the executive producer perk.
Yeah,
and there's 5 of them that are available. There's also an associate producer perk, which is cheaper. I think we have 4 associate producers right now. There you go. There's the associate producer.
Okay.
And the associate producer, sorry to interrupt, Dave, but the associate producer, for those that weren't aware, you know, on the first campaign, that one sold out, and we had a lot of demand afterward, people wanting that particular perk. But, you know, we had sold out and had run out of the opportunity to offer it. So this time we decided to double the quantity that is available, because we knew it was so popular and people really liked it, and they saw a lot of great value in it, I think, too. So just wanted to make that point.
That's right. And 4 are already taken.
Too. Aside from being an associate producer, you get all this stuff here. You know, you get this T-shirt.
If you click on it, if you actually if you click right in sort of where it says associate, right where it says associate producer. If you click on that, no, not there, down. Oh yeah, okay, there, So there you go. It says, for your contribution to this perk, you'll receive an associate producer credit in the movie and on IMDb. Your name will appear in the end credits before cast and crew, and in special thanks. You'll also receive an official Blu-ray, T-shirt, signed official poster, online advanced premiere, McRae live invite, so you get to come on my show and talk about horror and you know, whatever you want to talk about, and the digital download package as well.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So that's and 4 people have already snagged it, which is great. So and I believe, I don't know if Cody Snyder is in the chat, but he was one of our one of our new
Oh.
associate producers. one of
I
the
did not
mods.
know that.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Well, great to have you on board, Cody.
Hey,
That's
Cecil
awesome.
from the horse shows
Thank you.
here in the chat now. Cecil, we just talked about
Amazing.
Dave's amazing performance, and we've only seen just a
Hey, Cecil.
taste of the performance, but I'm sure we're going to see a lot more. So actually,
You
Dave's
will,
only
yes.
in the movie for 2 seconds.
It's 2 seconds.
The work that went into that 2 seconds.
But man, I'm telling you, it's great 2 seconds, man. It's a great 2 seconds. Yeah,
it's
for
gonna be
sure.
awesome, though.
Yeah. No, it's going to be great. Fans are going to really love it. Like, yeah. It's out of the majors, if that's the right term, for all the like Freddy, Jason, Michael, what have you.
The big five.
Yeah, the
Yep.
big five. Freddy was my favorite growing up, hands
Mhm.
down, and just for so many different reasons. So I got super excited. I've got my Blu-ray for that. Same with Never Hike Alone 2. And so, donating to them as well. So it's
For sure.
I'm excited for both of those films.
Now, I thought about getting that teaser cover. What's the deal with the teaser cover, guys? Don't hold
It's
back.
just the teaser cover.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
It's very
Just
it's
like we
just
got
teaser.
the teaser poster, teaser
It is a
cover.
teaser
cool, it's a
post.
cryptic looking post. I almost got that version. Maybe I'll get both.
Yeah. Maybe. Why not? If you scroll right down to the bottom again, I just wanted to so people could actually see the top tier because that's
sure.
what. So there's
All
the
the way
associate
down to the
producer perk.
bottom.
Oh wait, no, scroll up, and then of course there's the executive producer perk.
Okay.
And the executive producer perk is you get everything. You get all previous perks, and you also get an executive producer credit in the film and on IMDb, a Zoom call with Bruce and I before production.
Yeah.
You'll also get a virtual Zoom tour of the set during production.
Yeah.
So we'll take you around. You'll meet cast and crew. You'll see what's going on. We did that with Knightley Gaimo, one of our executive producers on the first project. He had a blast. So you'll get that as
I
well.
know Knightley. He's a cool dude. Yeah.
He's very cool. And he's in film
very
school
cool.
right now. So he's
so he did, eh? That's awesome.
He
That's
did.
great.
Yeah, he's working hard.
Love it.
And then you'll also get to provide feedback on a first cut of the film. So like our first sort of assembly edit of the movie, we will allow you to watch it with us privately and provide some feedback as well, which I think is really cool. And then you'll also receive, obviously, an executive producer, It's Me, Billy, Chapter 2 t-shirt and any future surprise perks added later. So any future surprise perks we add later as an executive producer, you will also automatically receive those as well.
Now, I got to ask this question, and I don't even know if you can give me an answer, but is there a thought of a part 3 to this? And you don't have to tell me if there is or like where it could go, but are you thinking of the future of this, or is the thought just I want to get this out and then just be done with Black Christmas?
Yeah, it's not really. I just want to be done with Black Christmas because I'm not sort of annoyed or exhausted with the story of the IP. It's more about our intention with I don't want to give anything away, obviously, but this is the completion of our story.
Yeah. We plan to conclude the story with this film.
Correct. That's right. That's right. And because Bruce and I, after this, want to move on to original IP that we create, and we do have some ideas. We have a feature length horror movie that we're in development on that we're very excited about. It's a movie that I can't say too much, but we're very excited about it. Yeah. And but with Black Christmas, we would like to sort of just kind of complete the story and see where it goes. And with Olivia Hussey attached to it and in it, who knows? Maybe when we're done, maybe it becomes official in some way. Who knows? There's always those opportunities. But as of right now, this will conclude our story.
Yeah. And let me right here, guys, right there. If you want this,
if
you want her to return, you got to make it happen. I mean, that's really all the reason you need right there. Aside from the great filmmaking that you get from Dave and Bruce, Olivia. By the way, Olivia Hussey would not be returning to this franchise unless there was a really, really good script, a really good team behind it, and she believed in it. I mean, this is an actress that has not been in this franchise since 1974.
Mhm.
So, I mean, I get chill bumps right now just thinking of Jess Bradford showing up again in a Black Christmas movie. This is just insane to me.
It's insane for us, and like I said, it's not lost on us that how special this is, and you know, I want horror fans to understand, because look, I mean, I recognize that not everybody's a Black Christmas fan, and I totally get that. And when I say fan, I don't mean that you don't like the movie. I just mean that you know, you're not, you know, you don't, you know, it's not Halloween. I get that, but it is such an important film in the genre. There's lots of movies that I might not be into, or franchises that I might not be into, but I absolutely recognize the cultural significance of them and how important they are to a genre or to a fan base or whatever the case is. And Black Christmas is one of those movies that is incredibly important. Jess Bradford, one of, arguably, because you could make the argument, you know, horror's first final girl. And, you know, played by Olivia Hussey, who has not, you know, been acting in she's sort of like, you know, been sort of quiet for a while. She's stepped away, and now she's coming back, and it's this movie she's chosen to do it with. And I mean, come on. I mean, you know what I mean? I mean, this is this is like,
that was me. I was just like, I gotta get
like I said, not to beat a dead horse, but you know, it's a fan film. We got to put that stamp on it every time we put something out there. But we are, from a certain point of view, if I can Obi-Wan Kenobi it here, again, we are creating horror history, you know, and it's so exciting. You
by
know,
the way, been covered by Bloody Disgusting already. And what was it? There was another
Collider, I think, did it too.
Collider, So you got Bloody Disgusting and Collider. And guys, just to drive it home, you will get to be a part of Olivia Hussey returning to Black Christmas. When you watch this movie, you can say that in your mind, oh my God, I was a part of that.
Well, your name will be in the credits.
Because of me. I was a part of bringing, you know, this is like unprecedented. So
100%. It is because it's from the fans for the fans, you know, and fans drive this. It's crowdfunded. We can't do it without you. That's not hyperbole. It's not like we have Warner Brothers backing, you know, a Brinks truck up to our door just in case this doesn't work out. No, if it doesn't work out, there's no movie. You know, and that's just the reality. It's not, I mean, fans fund this. And that's why I said, you know, out of all the thousands of people that watch us, Lee, across our, you know, our socials and our, you know, channels, if 950 people all bought a Blu-ray, we'd have, you know, over half our budget, you know, and that's all it takes. It's all it takes. Doesn't take much. It doesn't take much. You know, so we appreciate everybody who will continue to donate, who will donate for the first time. We really want, it's a dream for us. And you know, we really want to show you how this story ends. Because like I said, it is the equivalent of having a Jamie Lee Curtis attached to a Halloween fan film, or a Heather Langenkamp attached to an Elm Street fan film. You know, it is like that. It's very special what's about to happen here.
Any idea? I'm sure you already know. Do you have a schedule planned, like when I'm going to start shooting? You know, how many days the shoot's going to be? You got all that planned out?
Yeah, we're still in the process of planning the details of it all, but we're hoping to go to camera. At the moment, we'd like to go to camera mid-November to mid-December, anywhere in that pocket, and it'll probably be a 6-day shoot like the first one. Most likely a 6-day shoot, mostly night shoots.
6 or 7 days.
That's a tight shoot too. Like, how many hours a day is that?
Well, you know, realistically, we'd be looking at probably 12-hour days. We won't exceed that, but you know, again, 6 or 7 days total to shoot.
I've been on film sets before. I was actually on this set for the Avengers. I didn't make the cut.
Well, You were in Stranger Things.
Yeah, I was in Stranger
Oh,
Things
I didn't know
for
that.
season 1 and season 2.
That's
Cool.
right.
But I was in the first extra work I ever got was the Avengers, and I was like,
Cool.
"Whoa, holy crap! I get to be in the Avengers. That's cool." And I made a really good lifelong friend through the experience. We were both extras, and we were shooting. We had to show up. The casting call was like 5 p.m., and then we got done at, I want to say, like 7 a.m. in the morning.
Yeah.
I was exhausted out of my mind. And I got to be one of the shield guards and everything. It's the opening scene when everybody's like running around, but I look like a little ant. But
okay, cool.
it was
That's
a cool
amazing.
experience, you know?
Yeah.
And that's why I was
Yeah.
asking, because I know those shoots can be long. They can be really long. But,
Yeah. Well, one of the things that we do best, like we pride ourselves on, is being well organized as much as possible. So,
Yeah.
you know, part of the next steps that we're going through right now is really detailing that shooting schedule. You know, everything from the logistics to arriving, what we're going to be filming, how many pages of the script, you know, per day, all of that kind of stuff is part of what you got to go through.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we're in the process of beginning to detail that stuff out and make decisions around all of that. So,
you guys run a pretty tight ship, I can tell.
Yeah.
Oh, there was one question I meant to ask you. Victoria Marrow, when she's on the phone, is one of you guys like on the sidelines, like, you know, spewing dialogue at her, or is she just doing that to nothing?
Yeah,
No,
we
no,
actually.
yeah.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, yes, we had, it was a combination of myself and Brian Charles Peter, who played Billy. He was reading from a script that had some nonsensical things, just to kind of get her in that zone, you know, and just kind of get her a little spooked. Because, you know, the first phone call, you know, she's just sort of listening, you know, she's listening and she kind of is taken back a little bit, but she's listening and she, you know, all this crazy stuff. And because she doesn't really believe it. Like, she's listening to it, she's curious about it, but she doesn't quite, because then she's like, listen, your prank calls aren't going to scare me, pal. Okay. She slams it down. It's the second phone call that you can see more of the fear in her eyes.
Yeah. She did a great job too.
Yeah, she did.
Yeah.
She did. She's very nuanced. She's great. Victoria is amazing.
It's
Not
great
just
that
amazing
she's
as an
gonna be in the
actress,
next one. Yeah.
but she's just such a sweetheart of a person, you know,
Yeah.
very nice, very down to earth, very professional, you know, and everybody is, right, to Caro, who plays Agnes, of course, and to Brian, and of course in the first movie, Malika, Shelby, shout out to them as well. I mean, everybody's just was on their game, which was great.
Man, I tell you, this flew. I can't believe it's almost 2 hours.
Hard to believe.
So I'm going to ask you guys one question. Okay. It involves a Halloween trilogy.
Okay.
Looking back at David Gordon Green's trilogy, do you feel like it was kind of a good thing that all three movies were quite different, you know, at least in what they were trying to achieve? You know, with the first movie being more of like the requel, the second being just a balls to the wall Michael movie, and the third one being something completely different. Any thoughts, you know, after it's all kind of settled and percolated a little bit on it?
Making movies is really hard. And I will just say that when I think of David Gordon Green's trilogy, I think of sort of it being as kind of missed opportunities, I think.
Yeah.
I don't think it's quite Star Wars sequel trilogy. We didn't have a plan. It's not quite like that, but it's more, I just kind of feel that, you know, I thought the first one, I think the first one is still the best in those three. Halloween Kills, the death, I mean, you know, the kills were great, but I found the story a bit wonky, the structure, the pacing, Evil Dies Tonight. It was just, you know, it was the subplot in the middle. And then part three, I thought I actually liked better than Halloween. I thought the structure was better. The pacing was better.
Yeah.
And I do like the Corey Cunningham story. I just don't know if it was the right choice for a big finale between Curtis and Michael.
Yeah.
I think it would have worked better as an anthology piece, maybe as like a, you know, you do a series called Haddonfield, you know, and you bring back Curtis and you bring back Andy Matichak and you tell that you don't need like the thing that's ironic about Halloween Ends, in my estimation, is that you don't need Michael in it. And, you know, I've often said that the movie was actually pretty good until Michael showed up, you know, and because I understand you don't need Michael in it to deliver the social commentary that you're delivering in that movie, which is, you know, Michael is the cause of fear and paranoia and, you know, all this kind of stuff. And look what, you don't even need him in the movie. You can just tell a story about how Michael's gone. No one's known what's ever happened to him. And about this kid who's babysitting, and there's this kid that falls to his death, and he's tried for his murder, but he gets off. And now the town of Haddonfield is, you know, bullying him, and it's the residual, it's the psychological residual effects of that bullying that, you know, causes Corey to descend, you know, tell that story. You don't even need Michael. Like, make that the first season of Haddonfield. Do you know what I mean? Or something like that. So I understand that there are people that try to make the argument that you need Michael still in the movie. And it's like, well, yeah, you do, because it's the third movie with, you know what I mean? Yes. It's fine. I thought Ends was fine, but I don't, in my opinion, because of the direction it took, I think it needed to be something different. I don't think this was, if I was in the writer's room and they had pitched that, I would have been one of the writers that would have been like, hey, that's actually a really cool story, guys. Let's put it over here. And let's focus more on Michael and Laurie. And like, I think that's great for like a series. Does Malik want to do a series? Does Malik Akkad want to do a, because if he does, we got his first season.
There's an
do you know
idea
what I mean?
right
Like,
there, yeah.
Right. And so I think it should have been more about discovering sort of maybe Michael has been missing for a while. Laurie's moved out of Haddonfield, perhaps, because I don't think she'd stay there. And then Michael comes back. Maybe there's like a thunderstorm. Make it a thunderstorm on Halloween. Have lightning and rain and that kind of stuff. And something draws her back to maybe Hawkins still lives in you know, Haddonfield, so she has to go there to spend time with him. But then she gets caught up in the big shebang at night, and you know, there's people are getting murdered in the houses and stuff by Michael. And like, make it a big finale like that. Make it Michael and Laurie centric rather than what they did.
Yeah,
those are my
because I personally love the movie on its own, but it's not the ending that needed to be in that trilogy.
Not to one of the most iconic slasher films of all time. No.
If I separate it and watch it on my own, I love Halloween Ends. I think if they would have taken Myers out of the movie and it made it just Corey, and it was still the third part of it, people would have, the outcry would have been even worse. I think people would have been really freaking out.
You couldn't have taken him. No, you could not have taken him out of the movie.
It was kind of like a happy medium trying to go for it. We still need Myers in this movie, but I really want to tell this story over here. So how do I do that? So,
well, you take that story out and you make it a Myers film, and then you tell that maybe that's the next thing, right? Maybe the Corey Cunningham story is the sequel to Halloween Ends, but it's in series form on television. You know what I mean?
It's a and still be into the David Gordon Green world. So
Michael is gone. Maybe it's 4 years later, right? And now you have this Corey Cunningham kid, right? And the town is still not quite and do you know what I mean? And then now the town is fearful that it's going to happen again, right? And now Corey is going to become sort of what the town is trying to avoid. You can still tell that without Michael.
Yeah. I think one thing that
probably would have been stronger.
You have a franchise where the continuity is so freaking, you know, balls crazy that when you have 13 movies down the line, like say 10 years down the line, I think it'll be easier to separate every movie, including Halloween Ends from the David Gordon Green. Like Beth said there, Ends will find its audience. I think it is finding its audience because I'm seeing a lot of people starting to come around to it for what it is. But it's a unique movie to kind of step back from and just kind of take a look at. Like, wow, I can't believe they had the balls to try that. You know, Bruce, any thoughts on it?
You know, I'm not as into it as everybody, admittedly, but I have seen them all, and I enjoyed the first one the best because I thought that it worked the best as a movie, like just in and of itself as a piece of storytelling. I found it the most engaging out of any of the three. And I liked that they were getting into some of the backstory, and it just felt like it had some more meat on the bones kind of thing. That's a fair way to put it. And so I wasn't as happy with the ending. Like, if I could, I might, I don't know, maybe everybody's going to hate me for saying this, but I would have just made like the one movie, and I would have taken the very ending of Halloween Ends, because like that whole thing with,
you're right,
you know, Jamie Lee Curtis and you know Michael, and just like him pinned down to the table and they're stabbing him with everything that she can, cutting limbs off, whatever, like I would take like the ending, the epicness of that, and make that the end of the first movie.
Right.
And if they did that, and then maybe extend the first movie a little bit, just to create a little bit more, of a bridge, then I would have been like, oh yeah, shit, that was dope. That was,
ironically, I think out of all three movies, the one scene from all three movies that still, I think, gives me the most chill bumps is, funny enough, before he even puts the mask on. At the beginning of the first movie, when they go to Smith Grove Sanitarium and he's standing out there in the courtyard. Still to this day, when I watch that scene, that's Michael Myers. That's my guy. That's the guy that got me into this franchise from something about Myers in Smith's Grove in chains always gets me. Not saying a word, but when you see Aaron walking up to that line, and then that build of tension, just like if you step across this yellow line, you are fucked. You know, that's the fear of Myers.
Yeah, 100%. There's a lot of I say a lot, but there's a few things I would have done differently creatively in that movie, but between the three films, I think it's the best out of the three. Yeah.
Now this super chat here, and then we're going to close it off. There's not one scene of Michael's mask emerging from the dark in the entire trilogy. That's wrong, actually. There is well, actually, you know what? I think he's right. I think it's Laurie's face emerging from the dark in the first movie.
Well, see,
I think he might be right.
To his point, that's one of the creative differences so in the 18 film, in the first movie, when Vicky is babysitting the young kid there, Julian, and he says to her, can you close the closet door? So now the light's on in there, but the door is sort of ajar. So she's like, sure, no problem. So she goes over, she's doing this, pushing it. She can't get it closed. So then she opens it, and there's Michael Myers right there with the knife. Okay, that works. There's nothing wrong with it. It works. But what I would have done is I would have had the light off, and I would have had Julian say, can you go and turn the light on? Because kids like to have lights on, right? And she's like, okay. So there's one of two ways you can play it. You can have her go to the door, open it, turn on the light, and there he is. You could do it that way. Or what I would have done is I would have had her go open the door, try to turn on the light, and the light bulb doesn't turn on. It's burnt out. So then she turns around and she looks at Julian on the bed and says, hey, do your parents have like a light bulb around, whatever? And as she's having this conversation, behind Vicky, you see the mask slowly emerging from the darkness.
Missed opportunity, big time.
It's a missed opportunity because that's what Michael does. That's his MO. That's more true to the character. Now, opening the door and there he is, it works, but we can do it better, I think.
That scene was begging for tension. They had everything. The table was set, beautiful lighting. You got a freaking closet and Myers.
And this is not David Gordon Green's fault. It's not even Blumhouse's fault. This would be, I don't know what trailer houses Universal uses, but I think this is a Universal thing because they're the distributor. That scene was ruined in the trailer because the scene of her opening the closet door and seeing Michael is in the trailer. So when you watch the movie, there's no tension because you know what's about to happen. So,
and they could have had that in the trailer, but just not show that punchline. Just show her walking up, and then as soon as the door opens, boom, that's the end of the trailer.
Right.
Could have been cool. But anyway, guys, let me get back over to the page so I can. I want to definitely show this one more time. If we want this to be made,
we've done great. I want to say thank you to everybody who has donated. I think we got an extra 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think we got an extra like 7 or 8 backers just in the stream. I think we've moved up a couple $100, which is great. Really appreciate that so much. We're closing in on 20% of our budget. I think we're about $250 away from 20% of our budget, which would be great to have this weekend at some point. So we just got to keep the momentum going. You know, again, like I've said to people, it's like if 950 people, and now again, I know 950 people, but when you look at all of our socials and I mean, there's thousands of people that watch and support us, Lee, right? You know what I mean? There's thousands of people. All it takes is 950 people. If 950 people right now all bought that Blu-ray, it would be 57,000 Canadian dollars. You add that to the 23,000 we already have, and we'd be rocking. We'd be rocking. We'd have 3/4 of our budget already. So
one thing we haven't mentioned yet either is donating is one thing, but also when you see Dave and Bruce posting on their socials, share it.
Yeah.
Just click up a button. Just what, I want this to be made. I've already donated. What else can I do? I'll just share this, and I'll show all my 500,000 friends that I have on Facebook or my Twitter or my
That's right.
When you share it, that just gives a potential for another 1,000 donators.
It's true. And also too, if you've already donated because you picked up a Blu-ray or a shirt or whatever, which is fantastic, and you have a couple of extra bucks you want to toss to the campaign, but you're like, well, I don't want to get another Blu-ray and I don't want another t-shirt. You don't have to. You can actually go and just donate as well. And donations are not connected to perks. So if you got an extra $30 burning a hole in your pocket and you're like, well, I don't want another Blu-ray, but I'd love to give it to the campaign, you can just donate it as well, which is great too. And a lot of people did that on the first campaign as well, which is great. So
it's true.
Yeah, and again, every super chat I get from this, I'm gonna throw it right on the campaign. So
appreciate that, Lee. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
We appreciate all the love, all the support. It's been
and
awesome.
you know what? I'm happy to have you guys back on here again near the end of the campaign if you want, and we can keep pushing.
Yeah, that'd be
have
great.
Some more horror talk, maybe answer some super chats for the fans, whatever. But
for sure,
no, it sounds great.
But
it's been
guys,
really great.
Seriously, thank you so much for coming on the show. It's fun, and this is easy for me talking to you guys.
Yeah,
so
cool.
I really
same,
enjoyed
Lee.
it. I'm passionate about this movie. I really am, and I want it to be made. So
me too.
Thank you everybody that that donated during this stream. Really cool. If you haven't donated and you're thinking about it, go ahead and do it. Just go ahead and drop it right now. I did it during the stream. All right. So yeah.
Your name will be in the end credits and a part of horror history. So it's pretty cool.
And, Olivia Hussey. Okay. That's the
She's
last
back.
2 words you're going to hear on this stream. Olivia, the ever so lovely. She still ages like a fine wine.
Oh, she's beautiful. She's a very beautiful, classy lady. And
I've always loved her accent too. She has a beautiful accent.
She does. Yes, she does for sure. Yeah. And it's very distinct. And you're going to hear, as soon as you hear that voice in the movie, you're going to be like, oh my God, that's Jess.
It's the first time you hear Jess in the movie.
Imagine that. Yeah.
It's going to be insane. All right.
For sure.
Thanks, guys. Everybody have a wonderful night. All right. Love you guys.
Take care, folks.
Yep.
Bye.